primary ignition.
This is Star Wars.
Look out!
Core World News.
You may fire when ready.
From the bright center of the galaxy, I'm Greg Kondak, and you're listening to Core World News, your whole news service providing in-depth coverage of the latest stories from every sector of the galaxy. Now, for your news segment rundown for March 1st, 2023. Fistful of Beskar. We now go live to the CW newsroom to join your host, Ben, Grant, and Adam, for their review of Chapter 17 of The Mandalorian.
All right, thank you very much, Grex. Big week. Week. We're going to talk about one thing today, and that thing is Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 17, Apostate. It was a blast. It was a long time coming to get this, and I'm pretty stoked. How'd you guys, when did you watch the episode today?
You guys know I just wake up and tune in.
Sweaty. I believe Jason called you sweaty.
First thing.
I
watched this episode back to back right when I woke up, and it was a glorious morning. Nice. I am the words of the creed are forever forged in my heart after this episode. I am in deep. I love this stuff. It felt like sort of a redundant, episode, given that we have a lot of that information already. Like a lot of the quest that we know has pretty much been established in Book of Boba Fett, but it was nice to get that information again in this super fun adventure, this ride, this fun return to a lot of the same beloved spots we got in the first two seasons.
Yeah, if you have to do it, and I do understand why you have to do it. I mean, it's just treating it as, you can't assume everyone watched 2 episodes in the middle of Book of Boba Fett. Right, and so you have to bring everyone up to speed. So if you have to do it, which I understand why they do, this was a fun way to do it.
That's so funny. I didn't think of that at all. I was like,
Ben,
I was like, they just didn't
through you at this point. So
yeah, I was like, that was kind of weird. Yeah, man, I swear, like I am kind of a Labrador Retriever when it comes to watching films. I'm like, look at the action.
We were talking about that Bryce Dallas Howard episode of Book of Boba Fett and that catwalk battle and how beautiful that episode is, and how that's a great primer for the quest to Mandalore.
Yeah.
And we kind of I guess he had found a piece of crystal and brought it to the armor for her to identify, and that sort of calls for the same information we pass back and forth, which is once again to his redemption story, to bathe in the waters underneath the living waters, which guys, we want to start from the beginning. The opening shot, I think, depicts the living waters of Mandalore.
Really?
That
where?
Vial, I think, the armor pours into the.
Oh, that's the living waters.
It was like bioluminescent and.
Oh yeah, good call,
dude. Good call.
Totally
and we've seen it before.
Yeah.
We've seen it in other episodes. Mm-hmm. Every time you see the armor, and she's treating the Beskar, but it makes sense. You need something from Mandalore that's in the to actually manipulate Beskar. So that makes a lot of sense, Grant. Nothing missing, nothing passing you by.
No, I don't know. I don't know what that vial was. I just thought that may be what it was, glowing. The water noticeably. Yeah.
That's a solid guess too, because I was like, how is he going to prove he was there? Like, is he going to take a selfie? Is he going to make Grogu take a picture of him in the waters on Mandalore? Like, how is he going to do this? But if he brings back the water, a vial of the water, she'll be like, I get it.
Or you can even visualize his redemption in the water with the lights, the glowy.
Yeah.
But it also brings an interesting question of what supply does she have? How much of the living water does she still have left to do these things?
She's like a gym bro. She's got those gallon jugs of it just stashed in her closet somewhere. She's pretty travels easy though. I think it's really cool that it's the last time we saw them in Book of Boba Fett, they were on that amazing space station, on the undercarriage of a space station, one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen. And now they're on an island somewhere, and their numbers are growing. It's just Forge will travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so cool that she's building that. We can do this in chunks. That beginning part where she's building that helmet. Yeah, it's just a small helmet, and you're just what is this? And then she marches out to a beach, and there's just a gathering of Mandalorians, and there seems to be some sort of induction ceremony, and there's a kid there, and it's like, that was crazy. I was like, this is cool. We're actually getting some Mandalorian culture here. But I'm asking you guys, is this the old way of Mandalore, or is this like some Death Watch, like remnant Death Watch, like sort of dogma?
We're not.
What's going on?
We're not explicitly told. I have my own guess about it.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
Yeah, we talked about it today, I think, at work, where you and I were just like, are these like the kind of like religious fundamentalists who like grabbed onto Death Watch and somehow like survived and multiplied, like using in the Death Watch regime?
I think it's more like their catastrophic failure as Death Watch, which essentially destroyed Mandalore. Like, and which we hear from Bo-Katan level her accusation quite clearly. I think they sort of like hit rock bottom, and then they're like, we need to change our ways, and then they became like orthodox, like Mandalore,
Right?
And then that's when she sort of picked it up and pretended like she's been doing that the whole time, because we've seen Death Watch in the Clone Wars, and it's not like, I mean, we haven't seen their rites and rituals and all that, but we just really spent time with Maul and Vizsla and all that, plotting their overthrow of the government.
So is the helmet dogma, is
Yeah.
that connected to Mandalore?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think that's what's going on. Is like, I think you're right. It's super orthodox. They're just going back to the original scriptures. But the thing is, like, they call themselves the children of the Watch, right? Which I just kind of had this realization of just like, just because you're the child of something doesn't mean you agree or follow it. Like, that might be them going like, we are the orphans that you created. Like that we are the children that you created because of your destruction, right? And why we're going back to the ancient ways.
We don't know how old the armorer is, but she's definitely she's not a child of the Watch. Right. She is the Watch.
No, but
she's a Mandalorian.
But that's what I mean. I think it's
the horns of the.
But that's the
I
thing,
need
like,
that helmet in my collection, guys. That helmet is money.
It's amazing.
That helmet is money.
Oh, totally. No, it is actually. It's not a non sequitur. It's a sequitur. So at the beginning of any Star Wars show on Disney Plus, they flash the helmets.
Yes.
Did you notice the added helmet?
I missed it. What was it?
This episode?
Okay.
It was the armor.
Okay.
They flash the armor in the middle of the helmets. I love that. It's just a little moment. It's like the Marvel when they show the comics, like they show what's in it. But what I was gonna say is, I don't think she's a literal child of the Watch. I think they've kind of like it's more of a statement. Like, we are the figurative children that you created with your ways.
And the, genocide and mass destruction of that thing. I mean, so I mean, a brief history primer for people that are maybe not know it. I mean, it was Death Watch. We saw it in the Clone Wars. They were sort of activated. They were on the moon, right? Concordia moon, I think. And they were sort of plotting a coup, and Maul tipped the scales and helped them achieve that coup. Before that, there was a period of peace under Duchess Satine on Mandalore. They were a peace-loving people for a while. But Death Watch is like, no, the old ways are about fighting and armor and being tough and toxic masculinity. And they brought that back, and that ultimately Maul took over Mandalore, which I can't believe I'm saying that sentence. And ultimately,
Thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Which brought the gaze of the Empire and the Emperor to Mandalore, and then ultimately the Empire destroyed Mandalore in a purge.
And it got quote unquote glassed,
which I kind of love that term.
Yeah,
but so it is kind of Death Watch's
and we
fault.
see a piece of glass early on in this, but we do get tidbits about this sect, and it's that oath basically the kid is giving in the beginning, or the armor and the kid are doing back and forth, and I swear on my name and the name of the ancestors that I shall walk the way of Mandalore, and the words of the creed shall be forever forged in my heart. This is the way. From this moment on, I shall never remove my helmet. Then a giant crocoturtle attacks them. But
crocoturtle.
Enter dinosaur kaiju.
Yeah. Didn't see that happening.
I also appreciate
that. That's the George Lucas high adventure.
Yeah.
Good old fashioned adventure, I call it.
They'll be eating that thing.
Favreau and Filoni will go for the low hanging fruit at all times.
Yeah.
Give them an environment, and they'll be like, guess what's in this environment? This. And you're like, whoa, that's like the giant, largest set piece you can do here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a great way to kick off the season, though.
I also like that. I really do think it was a bit of a misdirect, that opening, because Carly and I both thought when we were watching it, it was a flashback to
I
Din Djarin.
thought that too a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I appreciated that misdirect when he comes
Yeah.
swooping in. Also played by that kid is played by Wesley Kimmel, who has like 5 Star Wars credits already under his belt, which is impressive.
Big fan.
He played one of the Tuscan kids in the
He's
in the Book of Boba
he's
Fett.
not related
that's
to
awesome.
Jimmy, is
That
it?
Tuscan kid is awesome. If he's the one I'm thinking about, I think
yeah.
that isn't there one that's really close to? Is that the one in the beginning?
I think
think it's
because he's in
supposed to
3
Boba?
episodes, so I'm guessing.
Wow, I think that's already
Yeah.
a record. Like 3 appearances. It's 3 different characters in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I don't know if he's related to Jimmy Kimmel. I was trying to figure that out at the same time.
Yeah,
'cause it
it's
seemed-
the character's name is
You know,
Ragnar,
you know,
which is
so-
cool.
Hey, we did have an off mic discussion of Nepo babies.
my gosh.
So, hey,
Oh,
who knows?
Yeah, I was
No,
like,
just
are we in
kidding.
NB territory right now? Okay.
So
We're
no, but
squarely
he is,
in
he is
NB.
the
Do we
child
just
of-
squarely land there after
Yeah.
our pre-show
Yeah.
conversation? Okay.
Yeah. His father is writer, director, producer Jonathan Kimmel, and his mother is writer, director, producer
Okay.
Carrie Kimmel.
So that's how that usually works.
Oh,
Did
but
you
he
just
is
Nepo
the,
check that?
he is the
then?
nephew.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's where we're at.
It's an
He
NB.
is the nephew. He's the nephew of Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh.
So, Nepo nephew.
That's double Nepo baby.
Kimmel works at ABC. I'm gonna put this
Listen,
in there.
he did a great job. He was awesome. Ragnar, I
yes,
hope, is
he
a
was-
character that grows up and we see him.
No,
like,
I
in
thought that
future
kid was
stuff.
going to use the Force on that giant kaiju at one point. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
he was the only one in front
Yeah.
of it at one point, and everyone had to back away. And I was like, oh, it's about to happen. Star Wars is about to happen.
Yeah,
And then
that would actually be
Paz Vizsla was like, get out of my way, and like shoved the kid over or something.
because Tar Vizsla, the original Mandalore, right, was a Force user. So like, if suddenly there was like a Force user that the armorer liked, like that would actually create an interesting sort of conflict there.
Well, did you see the coloration of his helmet? It was like a teal and purple
Yeah,
scheme. Isn't that Paz Vizsla's helmet? Isn't the same color?
yeah, but we just know him as Ragnar. I feel like if he was
Is
Ragnar
that kid
Vizsla,
Clan Vizsla though?
no, I mean they're all children of the Watch. I think that's their clan, but they're kind of a multi-patterned quilt at this point of various. You know, they still hold on to their clan.
Is the armor going to have a legendary like reveal? Like, I think it's set up now that she needs to remove her helmet. Like, I think it's basically been set up at this point because you can't keep doing this story without.
But like, what would,
Hey, maybe
what would
it's
pay off
maybe
there?
it's it's Maul with a moist modulator.
Oh my gosh! Don't say, if we say his name 3 times, he's going to appear in another like Star Wars show. So we got to be careful here. But yeah, I kind of like not knowing who she is. She's just this like weird, like she's like a religious leader. She's a leader of the whole sect, and she's this like very practical armorer that keeps everyone going. She's just a fantastic character, but there's got to be some conflict with her at some point, even though clearly the sun's rise and set on her shoulders in Din Djarin's eyes.
Until they don't, right? Like, or I mean, the thing is like, you know, she is a, I don't know if I call her charismatic leader, but she clearly has them under thrall, and
Yeah.
you know, it just takes if you're going back to, you know, Death Wash or old Mandalorian, whatever, is I'm sure if it gets to conflict and Din Djarin wins that conflict, then he is going to be having his own
Yeah.
Kretch, you know.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, like, what if he comes back with the water? No, she's true to her word, man. If she saw it, she would be like, okay, you're back. But then he's got to prove himself as the Mandalore, which actually could take seasons.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Anyway,
this is just the
he
first
comes in after they fight that giant kaiju. He comes in, destroys it.
Yep.
With a sweet like few proton torpedoes or something.
Yeah. Like I said, they're going to be eating that thing in like the next episode because like Jon Favreau loves to eat creatures in Star Wars.
How sick!
Everything's food, yeah.
I thought this was one of the greatest opens I've ever seen and character reveals I've ever seen. Basically, because when the cockpit slides back and like you get like the rattle, the death rattle,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
whistle, the death whistle, and I was like, and then you have the baby Grogu rising up in the back
Yeah.
into view. I was like, oh, it was like a cartoon, but it was also like I think the most indelible image I've ever seen in my entire life.
I think this whole show's been like that to me. Like I
It's
only got to
iconic.
see this
It's
once.
still-
Everything's iconic. It's these really
It's
amazing
just making iconic imagery over and over.
over and over, just
Over
etching
and over,
itself in
yeah.
my mind. I've got no problems with that. But yeah, definitely that intro was.
Then it
like-
cuts to the text, the logo, the title plays,
Yeah.
everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was a cold open.
I love the music in this episode. The music is like orchestral.
Yeah.
It's like no longer so electronic now. It's like trying to go back to the sort of John Williams roots.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
all.
not Goranson, right? It's his understudy.
Right.
I shouldn't call him his understudy.
It was
his
amazing.
partner.
Yeah.
The guy that did.
But I think it works because we've heard all the Gorons and stuff. So now when we
Yeah.
go back to this,
Yeah, I wouldn't have.
That's
If you didn't tell me that, I don't think I would have picked up on it. You know that it was a different person. But like you're about to say, Ben, right? That's the guy who did Book of Boba Fett. Is that right?
yes, and I'm ashamed that I don't know his name off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Joseph Shirley.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just scrolled faster than you.
I've had Kevin Kiner in my head from watching all that Bad Batch. We're gonna get back to the Bad Batch next week, by the way. We're just gonna take a knee. This week's just gonna be about Mandalorian because it's been a long time coming. So
Yeah,
we'll do a
we
double
love
ep
this show.
of Bad Batch next week.
yeah.
So
this show kind of gives us like, you know, the grandiose visuals, like in terms of like the sustenance we get from this show, compared to Andor, where it's like dialogue and plot dynamics. It's like this show is like the visuals are just breathtaking.
Yeah. It also felt like it had like a thing to do because this is a much larger gap in seasons, right? Time wise between season 1 and 2. This is what, a year and a half?
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Am I doing that? Almost 2 years. Where so
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like a part of it is like reminding everyone, especially because there's been like 3 other Star Wars shows between this.
Yeah.
Of just reminding people like this is what the Mandalorian is, right? Like it's swashbuckling, high adventure, cute Grogu, you know, you get everything.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it hit all the notes. What did you guys think about the cinematography? I know it's just one episode to go on here, but do you think it stepped up a little bit, or did it still feel voluminous?
We'll get to our awards and like best shot,
Okay.
and TV shot, and all that stuff. But
Dang.
cinematography was
Just in general.
gorgeous. I thought it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's again the work they do to sort of like make the volume inconspicuous is so, you know, lauded in my mind. It's like I don't notice it really.
No, it's really funny. I think we got so spoiled from Andor that I was a little nervous about going back to the Mandalorian with the use of the volume, but it didn't pop up for me in this episode at all. I didn't notice it really. I wasn't looking for it. I feel like when I look for it, I can find it, but I really just wasn't. I think I was so engrossed, it just never really.
I think it
never
works
noticed
really
it.
well for medium close and close ups.
Yeah,
I think the volume is incredible for the close up.
yeah.
Just because you can put whatever you want behind them,
Yeah,
flavor that.
yeah, and get all your lighting right and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, was the beach practical? Felt practical to me, but I don't know. Like, were
beach?
they on a beach? I think they were, right?
I think they were.
Yeah.
It looked like it to me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with set extension.
Yeah, because they were.
It
Yeah,
looked like a really long beach. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they might. I guess you could do that to the volume, but shnikes.
No, that felt like it was on location.
I'm excited to get to this next scene, which is just them
Yeah.
traveling through hyperspace, I believe, to Navarro.
Yeah. So after
Yeah.
he like
My
consults
favorite
the
scene
armor,
in the entire episode. Yeah.
do you guys want to pass over the scene where he talks to the armor and sort of consults her about? It was basically a
Okay.
repeat of what we.
Yeah,
got.
so I'd say it's gonna sound snarky, but we already saw it.
Yeah, we
Like,
already saw
it was
this
just
scene,
it was
basically.
it was
You
restating,
must
which
bathe in the waters of Mandalore, and like,
Yeah.
she's like, this is the way, and it's just like, you know, her-
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I don't want to skip over that scene because there's I did a little digging, meaning I skimmed
right.
Reddit. So this time, so yes, we saw her sort of exile Din Djarin in I think it was episode 5 of Book of Boba Fett, right? But he comes back, and the MacGuffin to make him come back was that he found this shard from some Jawas who knew a guy.
Right.
But so someone on the internet translated it.
No way.
Yeah, of course, because they did. And it is a passage from the Bible. It is Exodus 10:5-6. I don't know how to read this stuff. KGJV, whatever. All right. And they
This
shall.
just sounds like some dark web, like loony. It was just like
I mean, Exodus
from
is
the
the
Bible.
Moses.
It's like, it's
Exodus
probably
is the
not.
Moses
Yeah.
story. So
I don't know. Yeah, so take it with a grain of salt, but it kind of makes sense. Let me just read this passage for you. So this is what this shard that he presents as proof that Mandalore lives or whatever. And they shall cover the face of the earth that one cannot be able to see the earth, and they shall eat the residue of that which is escaped, which remaineth unto you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which groweth for you out of the field, and they shall fill thy houses and the houses of all thy servants and the houses of all the Egyptians, which neither thy fathers nor thy fathers' fathers have seen since the day that they were upon the earth unto this day. And he turned himself and went out from Pharaoh.
yeah, so it's the locust plague is what they're referring to right there. So
Yeah.
It
I
does
don't-
tie to
yeah.
the destruction of the planet.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
a parallel of what happened to Mandalore. So then, which spawned a bunch of Reddit conversations about like Grogu parting the seas and
Right,
Din
totally.
Djarin saving the Jews and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've been wandering the desert, which is the galaxy, right? Oh man. I kind of wish I didn't know that. Now
Wow,
like my
that's
brain
like-
is
that is
connecting all the
illuminating.
dots and trying to get ahead of it, but you're right. Like so
That's undeniable. That's an undeniable connection.
yeah, I mean he's like literally like Moses is being it's very
Mandalore.
yeah, it's very Mosey.
Yeah.
Moses like yeah.
Yeah, just drop that right on you. How about that? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so we would be amiss if we didn't talk.
Yeah, I don't want to
about
skip
that.
over the scene, guys. I have like brain melting knowledge.
That's all I got today. That's pretty much all my brain
Just
melting.
some mediocre researching. No big deal, guys. Just
NBD.
learn the bits.
Yeah, I was on the
Just
can.
learned someone translated the shard.
Yeah, I did no work, and of course I didn't
It's
even.
day one.
Yeah.
By the way, we're doing this episode on the release day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because how could we not? You know.
that
That's why it's so late, y'all.
Anyways.
that's our lives. We live late lives.
Sure.
But Din then like asserts that if he indeed is able to bathe in the living waters, he will be forgiven for his transgressions and all that stuff. And Armor is like, "This is the way," and then scene ends. Nice button on the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, you know how this works. All right, be gone. And he's like, I'll return. And then they hit hyperspace. So okay.
There's like
Now-
an ambiguity to her that is fascinating. You're just like, what is she all about? Like, what's her deal?
Yeah, is she could still become a villain in this, but I don't know.
I know,
She's
that's
pretty
what I'm
consistent.
thinking. Like,
Oh yeah, she's a
Adam's
100
like, guys, she's built in that like a major conflict.
she's the villain. Yeah, she's
What are you
she's
guys
the
talking
villain.
about? I don't know.
Yeah, she's the villain. A
Anyway.
villain. Maybe not the villain, but she's a villain.
After visiting the armor, Din and Grogu travel back to, you guessed it, Navarro.
Yeah.
But
But
We're back,
they see
baby.
something on their way.
Oh yeah, that's right. In hyperspace, guys. This is major. This is the
Purgle
thing I
alert.
could
Purgle
not talk
alert.
about. I haven't
Purgle
seen the
alert.
episode, upon
Yeah.
waking up.
I literally said
Purgles.
Purgles, and Carl looked over and I said, "Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later."
For who?
yeah,
Yeah.
Purgle. Yeah, amazing, amazing tie-in. I lost my mind when I saw those. And then, like, I was like, is he going to connect to them? Like, whatever. And then they're in a herd of Purgles. Purgle herd?
Yeah, it was a herd. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what the animal collective of Purgles is called.
I think it would be a pod.
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 Oh, yeah,
whale,
Probably
pod,
a
I
pod of
believe.
Purgles.
Right. Space pod.
Yeah.
At least the alliteration's still there. That is amazing. You guys.
That was incredible.
That was a
Yeah, and
choice.
Grogu's like reaching out to them. And he's
Yeah.
like,
What?
That is a choice, and there's only one reason you would make that choice, and that's because we know Ezra's coming back.
Yeah, I mean,
right. And there's some music that
Yeah.
played there that was like super just sentimental, and I don't know.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Kiner like theme from Rebels. So, all right, again for people that
Yeah.
are like, what the heck is a Purgle? Which I also saw on Reddit. There's like, what the heck was that? And then people were all too
Yeah.
ready to explain it to them. But just real quick, in Rebels, their thing, Ezra Bridger, one of his best abilities is he can commune with animals, and he communed with these space whales that believe they were the first hyperspace travelers, and they can travel through hyperspace and exist in the vacuum of space. They're space whales, and they were
they're hyperspace
and
whales.
they popped up a couple times in Rebels, most notably in the finale, where they captured Ezra and Thrawn and brought them to the unknown regions or somewhere unknown.
Yeah, they can go hyperspeed.
Yeah, as they clearly were.
Yeah. That's
sick.
Like it's a organic
it's
creature.
super cool.
Was he traveling the Hysian way?
Wait, isn't there a sweet line in a book where they were like, or in Rebels or something, where it's like the hyperdrive scientists, the earliest hyperdrive scientists, like researched the Purgle essentially?
Yes. That was and I think among like space pirates and whatever, they're like considered like angels or the first hyperspace travelers, so they're legendary. Which I love it.
Only the most legendary thing.
Yeah,
ever. Don't put it beyond Filoni and Favreau to give you just the most
space whales. Dude, I love it. It's such a great idea. I love the idea.
Fantastical Star Wars.
I always love when they do the leap from animation to live action, because it's like my brain in animation, which I enjoy, my brain can very easily be biased and write off animation sometimes and not treat it as like full canon, even though I know it's full canon, not in any like conscious way, but I'm just kind of like, it's animated. But like, it was super cool. I'm like, oh, they're real. They're not real. They're still computer animated. But for some reason, seeing them live action, it made me feel like these are real. Like now, they count now, which is so dumb. But I'm very excited because I love the idea of it. It's super neat. I mean, especially like, not to like bring everything back to Dune, right? But we're talking about animals being able to travel in hyperspace and create things but again, we know that two characters are returning to live action, which is Ezra and Thrawn, and we know the last time we saw them, Ben, as you mentioned, is strapped to a Purgle. So like it makes sense to me that you're going to introduce these things, because I don't know if you're going to address it directly in the show. That might be a step too far, but like it's a nice little thread for those of us who consume
that's
everything.
What I'm wondering. It's like it would. I doubt. I don't know. I doubt they will play a part in Mandalorian, like you said. But it's just a little beat to be like Ahsoka is coming. Like the show, like they will make. I mean, we might not even see them either, but they might be mentioned and whatever, just to know they exist. And it's just, I think just a little Easter egg. To
we should say here, we just see the silhouettes here. I think. I mean, you could argue that's the best shot of the episode. And if one of us picks it, I wouldn't be surprised. But that, it's that shot. Unreal. Anyway, like that poster would be unreal. The Naboo Starfighter,
it would be amazing.
Tiny.
Yeah. I also think that is all we're ever going to see the Purgles in live action for now. I don't think we're going to get a full space whale.
I don't know. Given the space
part of me's
dogfight we got in this episode, I was like,
everything's
on
the table.
We get some sweet Purgle action.
Oh, I mean, they are 100% capable of doing it. I just don't know if they will do it. Does that make sense? Like, I know they can.
I thought the asteroid field in this episode, but I'm like,
part of me,
get ready for Purgles, because we are going full like Revenge of the Sith.
I also had that thought too. I thought a Purgle.
I mean,
show
it would imagine how cool it would look in live action, just like a whale, like that's been like extra animated. I mean, that'd be pretty sweet.
I'm very ready and happy to be wrong.
Yeah, that'd be really fun, man. It'd be really fun. But yeah, who knows? Yeah, everything's on the table, I think, at this point. And all right, so this is what I wanted to ask you. Grogu was kind of communing with them, right? Like, we know that you can speak with them through the Force because Ezra did it.
I think his just ability to sense them through hyperspace just shows his M count is off the charts.
Yeah. Off the chizzy. He's like, he's just like, oh wow, that's a living thing that's going in hyperspace.
Yeah. I don't think Mando even senses that they're there.
Oh yeah.
No, he's dead asleep. But that's the interesting thing, right? Is because the end of that scene, which I found really fascinating, is that Grogu climbs out of the pod and snuggles up with the Mando. So he's disturbed or upset or scared of the Purgles, it felt like. And the question is why, right? Like, if he was communing with them, he must have felt that they are just beings of the Force, or he just saw them and it scared him, right? Just seeing something that big. It's just really interesting. I'm not quite sure what to make
They're
of that.
giant
that
organic
scene.
creatures traveling at the like whatever 100 times the speed of light. Like that's a lot for a young mind to sort of take in. And I think he's like, hold me.
Sure.
Yeah, which is wild. That was a cute scene though. I like seeing him just sort of like snuggle up through his arms because I'm holding this Chewini.
I love how
or does he feel
claustrophobic it feels in there, but like there's also a serenity to it. I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting feel to that space.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was surprised he was scared because it was shot very serenely.
Yeah.
Like it was very beautiful.
I would be terrified in an Naboo starfighter.
Yeah,
I'd be like, no
thanks.
Life. Give me like a giant freighter or like I don't know, a dreadnought or something.
Yeah, to be around. We're gonna talk about spaceships later too because I've got notes.
Anyways, I think we're at Navarro, guys, and it's undergone a great deal of change with their new leadership of a High Magistrate, Grief Karga. The High Magistrate bit throughout the episode, the Carl Weathers bit work in this episode is grade A. It's incredible. Yeah. Carl Weathers gets to do multiple bits in this episode, and it's incredible. Like his work is incredible. And he gets to be a serious action star too, and do some pretty sweet cowboy stand sort of quick draw stuff.
Don't try to draw down on Grief, man.
Yeah.
I
mean, anytime we're in Navarro, I'm happy because we're in Western town, and I love my favorite variety of Mandalorian is Western Mandalorian, and so I was very happy to visit.
But now it's an official trade spur of the Hydian Way.
Yeah,
I mean, now it's just now it's a Ren fair.
It's like its prosperity is apparent in like the clean streets, the greenery, the like general peaceful vibe of like that city.
Yeah, we mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but the Kowakian monkey lizards are no longer food. They're thriving in the trees, which was
there are other creatures that are food though. So
yeah. But hey,
you could never escape like some sort of animal just burning on.
Yeah, but not ones that have a sense of humor.
But there's that sweet like little butcher bot in the corner too with all the knives.
Yeah,
I know Adam appreciated that. I was like, that's an Adam moment.
Yeah, which
that was the same. Yeah. They had the same bot in Return of the Jedi, and he was also in Book of Boba Fett too.
Yeah. Book of Boba.
There's a band like on the street there. You guys see that? Like
there is a band.
I was like, Ben. Yeah. Ben, there you go.
I got very it was like Renaissance fair style music.
It was. I literally was in the middle going, "This is Ren Fair."
That's a good analogy. I don't know. It was pretty spacey to me. Still, it still felt very Macquarian.
Yeah.
Didn't feel like
no, for sure.
Really, it felt. I guess there were like ribbons hanging. I don't know if there were ribbons hanging, but it was like
that was just the music making me think that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but I think they were going for that feeling, right? This kind of like it. I'm gonna skip ahead for a minute. And
okay, all right. We're going past.
We'll skip back.
The fates of Gideon.
Yeah, because this is light, and then we'll go back to that for a second. When he offered them a job as the new sheriff, I was just like, just do that.
Yeah,
just do that. Just take the job, and I'll watch another 18 episodes. It's just him as the sheriff on.
Navarro. I think
that's all. But we can go back
to Lone Wolf and Cub because if I'm not mistaken, they like hang out in hot tubs of hot springs or something like that. And like he was like, "I can give you a tract like next to the hot springs." And I was like, "That sounds amazing."
That sounds
like
amazing.
Take him up on that. Take him up on that.
Yeah,
like, let's go.
Yeah. That's the best offer you're gonna get.
Down, take off your helmet.
It's looking good.
Yeah. That's the best offer you're gonna get.
The Belters are mining. At the edge of the galaxy, at the edge of the system.
Yeah, Belters, which is a term from what was that show? Expanse.
The Expanse. The Expanse. Yeah, and having read the first 2 books of that series, I was just like,
stealing from the Expanse.
Like, all right,
yeah. Well, actually, yeah.
Season 2, episode 3 featured.
Yeah.
The Belters.
Well, the Belters are a huge part of that story. So yeah.
Yeah. I know. I want to actually Grant's actually, but I know he's just joking. So I'm gonna leave it alone.
You don't want to actually do the thing.
Anyways, Grief and Mando catch up, but then Grief tells us what happened to Gideon and Cara Dune, and she says Gideon went before a New Republic tribunal. He must be on like Hosnian Prime or something, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
somewhere in the
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune is in
Cara Dune's
Special
off.
Forces, just written off. Special Forces now, guys.
she's yeah, because she's off in the spinoff that never spun off.
Rangers of the Republic, was that
Yeah.
the Special Forces team?
Yeah, that was going to be the spinoff, and then that didn't happen for obvious anti-Semitic reasons.
Yes,
Sorry, I'm
and
just
many
calling it
other
out. Not gonna
problematic
let us forget.
reasons as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. It was tidy. It was just like, and she's not here. Bye. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, she got promoted up and out of Navarro.
I'll say, but that's the nice thing is they did good by her character.
They weren't just like,
Right, they could've just
she had a
been like-
terrible wood chipper accident or something. Like,
Yeah, she died back on her way to the
She
home,
died in
back
the
to her home
service
planet.
of the
No,
first
they were-
Marshal. There's
Yeah,
a
no, they were
statue.
just like,
Her
she's
statue.
doing
They
great.
just panned to reveal her statue
Yeah.
next to IG-11.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's doing great. She's really, really busy, so we're not going to be able to hang out with her, but she's doing great. She's doing really
awesome.
great.
I hear she has a really popular movie
Yeah.
now. Literally hundreds of people watched it.
I love that IG-11 is the hero of the town. He is the statue at the center.
Yeah.
Of the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. Like, yes. Like, this is so cool. Like, a droid is honored here or whatever.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
dude, epic statue. He's standing on a stormtrooper helmet. Did you catch that? Like under one of his boots is a stormtrooper helmet.
It's
And then
amazing.
just epic. But then of course Din Djarin's like, nah, I want that droid. And
Yeah, he's like, actually, can we take apart this statue? I want the parts. And I was like, what? That seems so laborious. Like, there's
I know it's
gotta be
important to your
another
town
IG
and
unit.
everyone here,
Yeah.
There's
but
like Taika Waititi
Yeah.
out there, and you could probably find one.
I know, and it's like, yeah,
Which-
Calm down.
which is really funny because we get to the point. Basically, the whole thing is like his personality chip is gone, so it really doesn't matter what IG unit you end up getting because you're only talking about the personality component.
It broken.
yeah,
weird.
I don't really get. So this is like, basically this whole episode I adored, but it did feel like one really long trailer for the season.
But yes, it was a setup. It was the setup episode. That's
it's
what
like-
Carly and I were
yeah.
talking
One
about.
long
Just setting up what the next
previously
7
on
episodes will be.
snippet.
Yeah,
But literally, we ended the episode and we're like, well, first he has to do that. No, wait. First
What's he
has
gonna
to
do first?
that,
Adam?
Then he does this.
Yeah.
Then he
He
goes
caught
that.
everyone up, though, I feel
I
like.
think
Now everyone's caught up.
I think he has to get IG-11 fixed because then he can go to Mandalore to make sure it's not
so
poisoned.
he's going to be a
I
canary
think.
or something. I mean, so he just needs
Yeah,
a
if it's
droid.
poison.
I
So he
think
needs
so.
a droid, but he only trusts one droid in the world, and it's IG-11.
Yes, exactly. The one that he tried to revive that immediately tried to kill Grogu. So that trust should be gone.
Right.
But
I
whatever.
have a lot of notes about that, and I'm like,
I
wait, you
mean-
didn't try to restart him earlier? Like, why didn't you? You just turned him
Right,
into
why now?
furniture? Like, what? I had some notes about that.
Like we could have a Taika Waititi droid this entire time.
Yeah. Instead, they just like made him into a
Anyways.
like mannequin. It all seems very inhumane, which by nature droids are. But yeah, I don't know. Wild side plot that they've decided that they need to throw in here.
Yeah.
But
I
suppose
almost think this episode should have been called The Droid, honestly.
I think this thing should have been
Because,
setting
like,
up
I
fetch
don't get,
quests.
like-
But anyway.
Like he again,
Apostate? Come on.
They go to Grief's office, and Din talks about how he's an apostate to his people.
Yeah.
And Grief's like, I've got a nice tract by the hot springs. Just chill out.
he's like
Just be
perfect,
partial.
even better.
Take it
Yeah.
easy.
He's like, I don't care
Yeah.
about you being an apostate. Like, those guns still work. Let's go. Yeah.
He's like, look
Yeah, hang
around
out here.
you. Like,
It's
you
great.
can make a real living here.
Yeah.
And then
Grief's a good guy, though. Like, he seemed like he was going to do some shady stuff, but then he's like, okay, how can I help you? And
But
it was-
then
it was nice.
suddenly, like that droid comes in, and they're like the pirates. There's pirates in the town square.
Yeah.
Like, we got to deal with them. And then Grief and Mando like rush out to it. I thought this scene was incredible. I thought like some of the alien work in this was awesome. Like, the
Yeah.
Super.
practical
Yeah.
makeup
Really good.
was great. I was like, yeah, more of this is what Andor kind of. I can't wait. I hope Andor is a blend of Mando and Andor in the next season because I want a little bit more of like the crazy aliens everywhere.
Yeah.
Like Dorian Sharp
Yeah,
looks
definitely more
nuts.
Nuts.
It looks like
Yeah.
he's like a
Bonkers.
little
Great.
fifth element, little too fifth element for me. But
But
All right.
I also like that confrontation between the pirates and Grief and Mando was kind of well done because it wasn't like it took me a while to like clue into like, oh, this used to be a bar Now it's a
Yeah.
school. Like it was done really well. Like it was done like very natural conversation, and you suddenly kind of started figuring out, oh wait, they're trying to go
Yeah.
drink at a school. Like it was
Yeah, and
really
he's like,
great.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
drink in this school, and he's like, yeah, no. So, and it also showed that like
No.
essentially Grief has to be his own marshal, which is time consuming. He doesn't want to have to do that all the time,
Yeah.
though capable. But
Absolutely.
And
We
Grief
heard
made some
shown,
like
yeah.
seedy deals to basically establish this new Navarro.
Yeah.
He basically hired these pirates as muscle, I guess, at one point, and that's why the pirates alluding to that.
Yeah, to
well,
clean
he
out.
said he hired him as muscle to buy the bar. So I think this is sort of like some Lando stuff where it's like he did some shady stuff in the past to make himself credible. So, because I think that bar must have been his where he was like hiring bounty hunters out of as like a bounty hunter broker.
Oh, is that
That-
the
oh,
bar? Is
That
the
was
original-
the bar.
That bar from
Yeah.
like episode 1.
Because
that was
they
the
mentioned
bar.
it
Okay,
last
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Is that the bar where like Mando dies, basically?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the bar.
Yeah.
They mentioned it in the last episode because this is like a third tier up scaling of that town. But he's been back since, and we saw that statue in the background in season 2.
Yeah. We also saw
Yeah,
that
and
school,
that's where
right?
the school
Yeah,
that-
we see the school.
because
Yeah,
that's that
Yeah.
Grogu's in.
And
in
they
that
mentioned that
episode,
it was
yeah.
the bar and all that. So yeah, so that was it. So I think that was like this was a deal done a long time ago. I think this was just to show that Grogu can.
Yeah.
I mean, Grief can hold his own, and he's
Oh,
got
yeah,
problems.
100%.
And also ongoing
I-
villain antagonist here with
Oh, yeah.
with the captain and his pirate
Vane?
crew. Well, yeah,
Yeah. You know, it's the side boss
Yeah.
in the level that you're gonna have to take care of.
on the mask.
But I just I just want to say I am so happy that we went back to Navarro instead of Tatooine. Like, and that's not an anti-Tatooine thing. It's just like we've had a lot of Tatooine,
yeah.
a little bit. But here's the thing. Like, it's nice. I love that we check in with Navarro like once or twice a season
Yeah.
to see how it's developing, because like Tatooine's not developing. It's never going to change. It's always set in stone or sand or whatever. And I like the fact that every time we go back to Navarro, it's different. It's growing. It's changing. And I appreciate watching that.
You
like,
wait.
in
You wait,
the
in
3
Boba Fett
seasons.
2, Mos Espa's
Yeah.
going to be like
Guess where-
Coruscant
guess-
2, The Revenge. Yeah, it's going to,
Guess where their
Yeah,
show
right.
is based at the Boba Fett. It's based in Tatooine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, so that was great. And then, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that was a
so
good
then,
scene. The
they go deal with the
Inzelans.
pirates. Sweet quick draw moment. Grief wins. Shoots Vane in the hand. Mando and
Love me a quick draw.
Grief then just continue to take out the entire crew, and the crew draws on them,
Yeah.
which was awesome. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, this does feel like the Western was just reinstilled
Yeah.
in sort of the show at that moment.
Yeah, it was such a classic Western scene.
Yeah.
It was so enjoyable. It was great. And then they were on their way. Oh, yeah, you know.
No, that's when they actually try to fix IG-11. That's when they take the statue, they take the
Oh,
pieces.
yeah.
Mando's like, I'm gonna try my hand at fixing him. Tries to be. Then when he fixes him and IG comes online, he's
A murder bot.
defaulted back to his original programming.
Yeah. Defaulted back to
Yeah.
Terminator mode.
And tries to terminate Grogu, which is so scary for all of us watching who are very
Yeah.
attached to Grogu at this point.
Grogu-
Everyone, no, Precious, throw him. Grief throws him like a
Oh,
football.
so-
Grief just catches him.
It's really funny. You and I at the throw, I laughed out loud. You and I watched that scene very, very differently, because I'm like, don't shoot IG-11,
Oh.
don't shoot IG-11.
I was
because
like,
I do,
oh, we
because
gotta think of IG.
I do want IG-11
Yeah.
back.
I was surprised there's
I do
not
want
another
to
IG
think of what he
unit
did.
out there that he can just. I don't know what is
I
with
mean,
the
there
sentimentality
is.
of this. Like, wow.
There's a
And
lot of
he's
droid
like,
trauma.
what a-
I think we
what a
know there's a-
180 he's taken on droids too. Like,
We-
didn't he start
in fact,
off like?
I think we know
fearing
there's at
droids? He was like a
least-
droidophobe.
He
Yeah.
still is.
Yeah, exactly.
he still
but
is.
it's the one.
Yeah,
but
he's
the
a
one he
lot of
trusts.
droid trauma there, and he
Yeah.
only trusts IG-11.
So he's like, I just trust this one droid.
But like, he only liked IG-11
I will
because he was
say-
programmed by the guy that I can't remember, Nick Nolte.
Oh, I can't think of his name either.
See.
Yeah, Nick Nolte, Ugnaught, which I cannot. Wow,
yeah,
it's only been like
For 3 years.
it's only
4
been
years.
like 10 episodes in real time that which is crazy. But I'll just say, like, great. I mean, we know there's at least 77
Quill.
other IG units
Quill.
out there.
That's
So.
why.
Quill. Thank you. Oh, that was embarrassing.
It's all right. It's only live, guys.
We're doing
No
our
big
best.
deal.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I'll edit that out later. Oh wait.
Yeah, as I say, no edit points, but we can do it for the pod.
Anyways, then obviously it's the Terminator moment. IG just crawling on the floor towards them was haunting imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
That
fun.
was actually like, I never want an IG unit to crawl on me like that.
No.
I'm good.
No, he was somehow scarier with just one arm.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because there is. I mean, it's right out of like, it's Terminator 1, right? When it's crawling with its one arm after Sarah Connor, I think. In the
All right.
in the
All right. I'm going to do
factory.
another parallel.
Yeah.
That's going to blow your faces off.
Yeah, do it.
Anakin Skywalker crawling out of the thing.
yeah.
He
Oh.
had the exact same arm. Left.
Grief is like, shoot
Totally.
it.
Well done.
Shoot it.
Wait, the protocol droid coming in clutch at the end? There?
Yeah. Yeah. I love those
Wow.
protocol droids
Yeah.
too. Those are really fun. They're old Empire droids, but he
It
plated it gold and he's like, "You're my guy."
Yeah, it was great. I also got upset at that moment because I'm like, did you destroy IG-11? Like, is this all for naught?
Right. I don't understand his attachment. Like there's clearly nothing there. I don't know what's going on, but that's one of our plots. And then Grief is like, "Oh, you probably should have just taken him to these excellent droidsmiths we have."
Yeah.
Right.
He's like,
I don't
by
know why
the
we
way,
didn't start
Yeah.
there.
There are some experts in town.
Yeah. I think Grief just wanted him
Just
to come.
ask the Anzellans.
Oh.
And I'm just like, and then Mando looks down and just comically there's like a little door.
Oh.
And there's like, the Anzellans just standing in the doorway. I was like, oh, this is the greatest.
That
This
was
is
such a good
great.
bit. And he's like, "What are they saying?" And then he starts translating.
Oh wait, no,
Oh.
Carl Weathers translating them was incredible.
Because he realizes, like, no, you can actually understand them, which was
He got
kind
to
of
act with the Anzellans like he got a lot of like
Yeah, like, once
Anzellan
you-
and me work. That's like, it's so awesome.
yeah.
It was like a vaudeville
so
routine.
good.
Like we got a straight up vaudeville routine, like for 5 minutes, which I'm all about. Like I love that dumb comedy.
The Grogu hugging the Anzellan
Yeah.
at the end.
Oh,
Oh my god, it was.
I
so
can
great. It's so
rewatch
funny.
that
Yeah.
100 times.
yes. Yeah, totally. And I will. I'm
Yeah.
actually going to watch it again right as soon as this is done.
That
But yeah,
moment
that
was
was a heart melting. And he's just like, no. And the Anzellan yells, "Bad baby."
yeah, that did it. That
Bad
did
baby.
it. It broke it.
You know,
It broken.
I know it broke it.
yeah. We won't take time right now to reassess episode 9. Still 2 years later, we're processing. But I will say, however you feel about that movie gave us Anzellans. So it is fine. It passes
Yeah.
in my book, no
The
matter
Anzellan's
what.
great.
Like that.
Yeah.
is-
And I think it was
yeah,
Shirley
it's
Henderson
so good.
in
Yes.
Rise too, right?
Yeah. And I think
And I know her
yeah.
from like Todd
Yeah.
Salon's films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
She's
she's legendary. Yeah, so that was fantastic. And then the trek continues, and we don't know.
and the trek continues.
Yeah, and the cool thing that I liked was also from the trailer, because this is kind of the extended trailer. He starts explaining to Grogu like how to be a Mandalorian, right? And he says like, it's only part of it's fighting, but he's like it's also navigating the galaxy. And I loved that sort of voiceover, and that and I think it'll continue because it's a great way to speak to the audience and sort of let people know what's going on. But that leads him.
He's like, here's your hyperspace map.
Yeah. I love that
Yep.
too. Like I want to
Here's
know
the
all those
field
dials.
Yeah.
Here's the. How about this? Here's the enemy proximity warning indicator.
Yeah.
How about radar? How about one word?
This is, dude, not in the galaxy far,
It's
far
like
away. What's
we're
Apparently
radar?
they,
Radar's too pretty.
I know you get parallel development, but
I was like, I was like,
sometimes
what?
No.
yeah, parallel technological development, but some people come up with different names for it. Some are more efficient, some are less efficient.
This is process stuff. Okay, all right. I like it.
No, I was laughing at that too because at the same time, like that is a clunky way to talk about that. You'd think you'd be saying something faster if you're yelling over comms.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Man, I thought that was perfect. That was great. And then, so then we get the starfighter battle, and he's just flexes on them. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
So this episode is directed by Rick
Famuyiwa.
Fubio. Can't do it. I feel horrible. I can do it if I'm not on mic, and then on mic I'm like, But also directed the first season episode where I can't think of the name of the episode, but it's the breakout in the
Yep.
the prison.
He did the
where he
prison
breaks
break
out.
episode. He also did the Sandcrawler infiltration episodes.
Yeah.
Season 2.
He did
Yeah, episode 2.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Of Voltan.
The
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
and then he did the Miggs Mayfield infiltration where Mandalorian takes off his helmet
Which
and wears
is-
the like tank commander gear.
Which is I think still my favorite episode. So that first season episode, I still remember us talking about it. One of my favorite things is they do a horror movie trope of the Mandalorian popping up behind people
Yes.
with quick cuts
Yeah.
when he's taking out people. He did the same exact trick in this, but with a starfighter.
Oh,
It's the same tactic he used, but with the starfighter. And I'm like, this is brilliant. Like this is his method of just like sneaking and hiding and then just picking people off one by one. It was just so cool to watch him do the same
Right,
thing
the
with a starfighter.
the hunter hunted becomes the hunter, and he just starts taking.
This was
Yeah.
the best sort of like space combat, I think, footage I've seen thus far in Mandalorian.
Better
I-
than Luthen
Yeah,
Rail with his
agreed.
lightsaber ship.
Yeah,
Re-
no,
real
not,
question?
no, not, it's saying in Mandalorian.
Oh, in
I'm
Mandalorian,
not
okay.
saying Andor's
Yeah,
excluded
Mandalorian. Yeah.
from that.
Okay.
Segment.
Okay,
I'm saying just
just in Mandalorian.
in this show,
yeah.
I think this is the best. So
I don't
far.
know. It's
Yeah.
I don't. He might have. Oh no, it was Carl Weathers directed the episode, and I forget I forget what it's called, the heist. But it's when they break into the cloning facility on Navarro to wipe out the last remaining holdfast of the Empire, and then it's in in atmosphere. But that was a pretty good one when they're getting tailed
Right.
by the
That was
TIE
good.
fighter, and then they have a battle in atmosphere with the Razor Crest, and that I
Yeah.
liked that one a lot too. But yeah, I think this one takes the cake. This one was pretty great.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean, I do love that Boba Fett intro in season 2 of Mando.
yeah, and then
Boba's flying around in his ship.
yeah, and then there's
Pretty
just
great.
Slave One. Oh yeah, when he's just taking out the
When he's like, the Empire,
Bike ride.
the back. I was like,
Oh, right.
this is so good.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Boba Fett is awesome.
yeah, that was
It's melted.
melted.
It was after he got that like sweet music, like and fighting like stormtroopers.
Yeah. It was funny. So in this space battle, I was like, is he just going to like hit the thruster and his skin run away? But then he's like, no, like Mandalorian doesn't run away. He's just like, I'm going to take you all out.
He's like,
Yeah.
kid, never trust a pirate.
Yeah.
And then just like punches to light speed. I was just like, nice.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
So then he ultimately does do it to get away from the captain there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Goran
yeah.
Shard, our mini
Pirate
boss
King.
for the season.
Yeah,
I
sweet ship
assume.
though,
Or you-
right? It looked a little bit like the
Yeah.
Eclipse for the people that are expanded universe people a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit. But
He's like a Swamp Thing character, though.
Yeah.
He looks like,
Totally. I saw him like Swamp Thing.
yeah,
yeah.
I think I literally said
Wait,
it
there's
out
a
loud.
sweet
And I was like, what? Like,
warthog
don't worry about it.
looking alien that you see after him, after seeing him walk by.
Oh, really? I could
yeah.
see
I
nothing
mean,
like
like-
that.
he was like
I looked
spotlighted.
around at second viewing.
His like moss beard was
Basically.
glowing. He was looking great.
The pirates have really awesome costumes too. I just want to shout out like
Yeah.
the costuming. In Vane, I thought in the cockpit, like
Yeah.
the lighting on him was awesome. Like, I just want to shout out to like
Yeah.
how crisp that looked. I thought he looked great.
This is. I know we've gotten like crime syndicates and other things like that, but is this our first live action real spending time with
I
pirates,
think
which
so.
is a part of
in
the
like
Star
a
Wars,
major
right?
live
'Cause, like,
action way. I think so.
Yeah. Which is kind of bringing up another segment of the underworld that we haven't really dealt with live action. I mean, they were all over
Yeah.
Resistance.
It's always nice to see like
and a couple other
starfighters
things,
and
yeah.
flagships of a certain faction. It's nice to see like they have a presence almost. Like I don't know. It was nice
Yeah.
to see a lot of art direction explored in the pirates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And they seem menacing. Like, they don't seem like jokes, right?
They were scary. like
So,
he was ready
yeah.
to fight immediately. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it makes sense too because the Empire has fallen, and it would make sense that like pirates are going to intercede, or like resources could be scarce. It's just like, yes, the crime syndicates are a thing, but they work with the system to exploit it. But like pirates are just like we got to eat and do what they have to. So it just makes sense. This is a different time period. Maybe pirates are more of a concern for the New Republic than crime syndicates are.
Right.
So yeah, that was
And then, anyways, yeah,
fantastic.
they punches it to hyperspace. They go to Kalevala.
Yes, which is I think that's again, this is some like half done research, and so my Norwegian friends, please feel free to correct me, but I think that's the name of the a Norwegian. It's either the Norwegian anthem or it's like a famous Norwegian song. Anyways, they yeah. So that's a dumb American saying dumb American things that he doesn't know anything about. You're welcome. And
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyways, I got like
That's a Mandalorian castle.
yeah, and he explains he's like this is part of the Mandalore system, which is cool. We're expanding that system, and then yeah, it talks about the castle and that. My favorite castle in Game of Thrones is Dragonstone, and it looks very much like Dragonstone. Yeah, I was hype. I was hype for that castle, and I just love castles. Period.
Nice.
So just overjoyed with that.
Harrenhal's the correct answer though, so you got that wrong.
Yeah. Okay. That place is cursed, man. I don't f with Harrenhal.
That's why it's fascinating.
Yeah. Oh, was that the lady,
History
the
is
dark
epic.
lady in there that just like the widow? Oh gosh. Anywho, yeah,
I watched every episode of Game of Thrones.
yeah,
This
that's
means
from
nothing
Fire
to
and
me.
Blood, bro.
Harrenhal's like only in the books, really. Like the show covers it, but
okay.
it's like briefly.
All right, that makes me feel better.
The history of
That's not from
Harrenhal
the
is
show.
is covered in blood.
Deep in the book.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. Read Fire and Blood if you haven't read that. It's amazing. I read it a while ago and I just adored every page of it.
Nice.
But yeah, so we go there and
Didn't just out of nowhere, I'm here to join you.
yeah,
I'm just like,
what?
What
Yeah,
are
that's-
Din
I
Djarin's
was like, what's going on
motivations?
now?
Like, I need like
Yeah.
a memory core. Like I need a memory chip for
And he needs a
I need a
squad.
personality chip for IG. I need to join you. I join these
Yeah.
other collective
All
of
right.
Mandalorians. Like, what do you want, Din Djarin? Like,
Yeah.
who is Din
I feel like
Djarin?
we gotta let's pause because I feel like we're gonna do the thing where we try to like figure out Palpatine's plan, and now I'm 100% lost because I'm like, what is the plan? Because he
Yes.
has to go to Mandalore, but he also needs a chip
Yes.
for IG-11. But he first goes to Bo-Katan to
What?
join Bo-Katan or to get at least his thing. So is the plan to get Bo-Katan to then go get a chip to then go fix IG-11 to then go to Mandalore, or is he just cutting out IG-11 completely?
Yeah,
I'm lost.
The best I could make out of that is he needs.
What if she's like, good, you're here to join me. Like, let's go. I have a quest right now. And he has to just not think about that personality chip or whatever.
Right. Yes, entirely
Yeah.
possible. I think he was trying to.
What is he thinking?
I think he needs a
don't know.
team. He wants a squad. He doesn't want to go into Mandalore alone.
But Bo-Katan's like a leader. Why would she? She's gonna lead if they join up.
Well, she owes him.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's got resources, and he needs those resources. He's calling in favors right now.
But he also has to know that she's somewhat gunning for him in terms of like,
Well, he knows
has
that
the
now.
Darksaber.
Wait,
Yeah.
has he fought her? Has he fought numerous Mandalorians? Like,
No.
what is going on?
No.
You'd think he'd be like on a cliffside, like fighting like a bunch of Mandalorians who just like constantly throwing down the gauntlet.
Oh, that's a really interesting point.
You know what I mean?
Right? You would think like part of it would be like he kept getting waylaid by like Mandalorians coming after him. To
Yeah,
try to
like
claim
he
the-
should
the
just be like a
Darksaber.
sellsword drifter who like Mandalorians come to him and they're like, I want that sword. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
take it from you, and they pull out a vibro sword and like they fight. Like,
But I mean, he's not dumb, so he has to realize that like the second he actually connects with her, because we're now getting Bo-Katan's refusal of the
Yeah.
call. Like we're now like 3 levels deep on refusal of
Yeah.
the call in this thing, and eventually she's gonna come around in quotation marks, and like he's got to be aware that like she's gonna stab in the back, figuratively, not literally, because I think you have to actually best them in
Do you think
fair
she,
combat.
Did you
But like
think
you know, like
that she thinks she could take Din Djarin? Because I don't.
yes,
I mean,
I think she thinks
saved
she can.
His bacon, the first time we see her in live action, he wasn't able to do what she could do. But so why doesn't she just
Yeah.
make her move? Probably
I
because
don't
he
know.
didn't take.
she seems kind of
Yeah,
broken.
he also wasn't carrying the Darksaber, so she would have to
Yeah.
find him and go get it, and like I don't know.
There's also a weird like I feel like she's a super she has a sense of honor. She's a very honorable person. So there's almost part of her that wants a fair fight with him and kind of wants him to be comfortable with
Yeah.
the Darksaber
I
before
think she
battling
also
him.
feels defeated. I mean, she must know that, like, she's blaming Death Watch for the fall of Mandalore, but who was holding the Darksaber when Mandalore got glassed? It was Bo-Katan.
Right.
So it's really her fault. So I think she's stewing, not feeling worthy, that sort of ordeal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And using excuses for that. Not excuses, but using that as a reason or coming up with reasons not to go after the Darksaber because she doesn't feel worthy
but
of it.
She's not. I mean, I don't think she could,
Yeah.
Could she have taken Sabine Wren? It's like, I don't know. Do you really want to get in a blood feud with your like brothers in arms or sisters in arms? I don't think she wants to do that. The other thing you made me think about was, talking about people coming after Din Djarin for the Darksaber. I mean, what if like that's how we get the like villain turn for the armor, is that she starts sending people after Din Djarin to take the Darksaber?
Yeah, it's weird that she doesn't have any aspirations for that.
Yeah, it is kind of weird.
Or at least hasn't vocalized having aspirations for it. But like she knows he's not
right.
good
Like
with
she
it.
could have. I mean,
Right?
when they
So,
were
like-
sparring, she could have taken it from him. Like she was just kicking his butt. So like, why didn't she?
Or I can't remember. I haven't rewatched the Boba Fett episode in a while, but like, does she acknowledge that is the weapon of the Mandalore? You know what I mean? Or yeah, that's what I thought. Right? Like I thought she
because
does
that's why
acknowledge that.
Paz
So.
challenges him.
Right,
But
right.
she did.
Well, maybe
All right,
Din
this
is the
is interesting.
symbolic Mandalore, and he should just have that thing. I don't know.
I mean, he earned it in combat. There's like a bunch of rules. Like you have to earn it in combat. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
She was sparring with him. She could tell she could have easily defeated him and taken it if she wanted to.
Oh
But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
100%.
sparring's
Yeah.
different
But
to like a fight to the death.
But she's also has her weird
Yeah.
code, right? And so part of it might be that she's actively training him with it to eventually challenge him when he's actually good with it, right? That it might not feel.
It would
like
be great to see
true.
her hammer against
I don't know.
his sword and like that clash.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw that in that episode, just sparring. But yeah, for real would be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, because
Yeah.
we don't even really know how good she is. We just know she's good. Remember, she was like, we see her and she's surrounded by stormtroopers. And then, like, the next scene, all the
Yep.
stormtroopers are dead in a pile.
In a
and,
pile.
like,
She seems to believe in the magic of the mines of Mandalore, whereas Bo-Katan offers this cynical point of view of like, there's no magic down there; it's all superstition.
Yeah.
There's nothing down.
We're delving into religion in Star Wars. I know
And-
how much you hate that, Grant.
I'm very excited for this commentary. I think Star Wars.
I
Was
know
built
you
for
are.
this. I think George
Right?
designed
But-
it for one thing: religious commentary.
But we're dealing with zealots versus literalists versus my brain's fried because it's 11:30 at night. But
Yeah.
people who take the
Believers
text as
is-
true and people who take it as anyway, I don't know. Someone else talk.
I know
I'm
what you're
out.
saying. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
I mean,
you.
hardliner radicals versus, I don't know what you would call Bo-Katan, but.
But anyways, they
Yeah.
just
Oh,
Mystic.
truth versus allegory, basically. People who read it as truth, people who read it
okay.
as
All right.
allegory.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you. There it is. There
Yeah.
it is.
Yes, there it is. And then
I eventually got there. Yeah, can you
Yeah.
cut like the
I can't.
And
This is
then-
live.
please.
We're live right now.
No, this is live.
Oh
And
no,
then,
no.
And then, I thought that's super interesting to me that you get that juxtaposition in this episode of the armor, really steeping the mysticism, of the mines and the underneath and the living waters. And we see the living waters. I know that's sort of my interpretation of that first scene with the vial. But and then Bo-Katan's just like, there's nothing down there. It was poisoned. She's like, our planet was ravaged, plundered, and poisoned.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Not
It's
good.
like a just desiccated husk of what it used to be. It's just not our world anymore.
Did any of you
There's
think we
nothing
were gonna
down there.
actually
But the ore, or Beskar ore, right, or whatever.
I guess the ore's still there, but if it's poisoned, is it still pure? I don't know.
Probably still good.
I thought we were gonna see Mandalore in this episode. I was like, we're just gonna do this, I guess. But
I think that would have been a better start to this
Yeah.
season. Honestly, I don't want to I don't want to
already picking nits, aren't you? There?
impose on the season, but it's like, honestly, like Din getting that shard in some way, even if he like splunked and got it and was like, the gas is too bad here or something like that, I have to get out of here, or something something that's just like some adventure that was just him and Grogu, would have been like,
Yeah.
this is so cool. And then like, I don't know, and then the whole episode, then the same episode we got happens. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to take away from the episode, just like, Almost
No,
like that.
but I'm
piece.
also
like
looking
I
forward
wish I
to
had
our
the
first
shard
standalone
key
episode.
story, a little bit of the shards, because that's a good interstitial beat to like show us time has passed and whatever. You know, they're on their adventure. You know, when they just arrive in a starfighter, I'm like, I don't get the sense that time has passed or that they've been doing this epic quest or something.
I'm going to be the stickler. I want to go back to his plan.
All right, back to the plan.
Go for it.
So you're right, because I was just like, why doesn't he just go to Mandalore?
Right.
He knows it's there, but he thinks it's poisoned, right? So
they make
based
that
on what he
very
said,
clear.
yeah. So he has to get IG-11 to go down there as a, I think Ben, you said canary in the coal mine, right? But first he goes to Bo-Katan. So clearly he thinks he knows where he can get his identity chip, but he needs a crew.
Yeah.
So that's why he's going. So he leaves without Bo-Katan. So the question is he A, going to just do it on his own, or B, is he going to get another crew? Like, are we slow playing this where we're not going to actually... Is episode 2 going to be assemble the new crew? Episode 3 is going to be go get the chip. Episode 4 is going to be go send IG-11. Episode 4 is going to be a standalone. Episode 5 is going to be like go to... Like, I feel like we're getting... Like, I'm starting to play this out and like, is this the entire arc of this season is him just going to get the waters of Mandalore?
It did feel like that to me by the end of it. I was like, oh, they might milk the whole season to go to the waters of Mandalore.
I got deep theories about the waters of Mandalore, by the way. We'll get to it.
Okay,
let's go.
Do
We're
it.
there. We're at the end of the episode. So.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
I guess we're at the end of the episodes. Yeah. I mean, if we get to the waters of Mandalore and there is the sort of bioluminescent aura to it, it'd be cool if there was like attracted to midi-chlorians or to like the Force to Grogu or something.
Ooh,
and like
yeah.
he glows or something like that, essentially.
Yeah.
Just that imagery.
Mm-hmm.
It's life force meeting life force. You know, I don't know,
like we said, I mean, Tar Vizsla, or we said earlier.
But then, like, what if some of it drifts to Mando and it shows that he's a little force sensitive? And you're like, oh, he's Tar Vizsla. He's the rightful Mandalore at this point.
That'd be wild. That'd be wild. Yeah, I mean, we know that, because of Tar Vizsla, that Mandalorians are sort of indelibly tied to the Force and Jedi. So, yeah, I want to see them play with that a little bit. And that would be a fun way to do it.
Yeah. That'd be cool. It'd be really epic.
Yeah.
So I just looked up the directors of episode 3, and now I have a whole new theory.
Who are the directors again? Can you tell me 2 and 3 and 4? I just want to know, because who's handling
2,
Mandalore
3, and 4
is what I want to know.
Yeah.
So 2, 3, and 4 is very telling. So it's Rachel Morrison. Episode 3 is Lee Isaac Chung. Episode 4 is
Rachel
Carl
Morrison
Weathers,
too?
Rachel Morrison's 2. So I think that's going to
keep
keep
being DP. So she's just probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's going to be pushing forward plot. I don't know Lee Isaac Chung. I'm just reading these names. I'm sure I did some point. Episode 4 is Carl Weathers. So that's going to be a standalone, I think. That's my theory, or at least not like a main plot. But the big thing is episode 6, 7, 8, Bryce Dallas Howard, Rick Fumiyama. So the last 3.
Famuyiwa.
Thank you,
Famuyiwa gets the last 2 episodes. I can't wait.
Famuyiwa.
It's like they listen to our podcast where we're like, Rick Famuyiwa's episode 2, season 1 is like the single greatest piece of Star Wars live action TV series.
It's super telling that he's directing the last 2 episodes of the season, right? And he just set it up.
I had heard,
it is, I'm wondering if we don't get the Mandalore until
he got an
8.
executive producer credit on this too, so he's definitely.
Nice.
I had heard that he was going to be doing the whole season. I had read some rumor, in the mill, that he was doing everything. But now that you listed names, I was like, oh yeah, they listed those things. So it sounds like Famu is like essentially like overseeing this whole thing. I mean, he's kind of doing the Favreau role.
Wait, so like, what happens at the end of this episode where he just leaves and he's like, I'm going to like bathe in the waters or whatever, and he's like telling everyone being like moody and just like walking out the door, and then like Bo-Katan's like, goodbye, Din Djarin or whatever. I was just like, okay, and like it just credits, and I was just like, what? So what does he do next? Is he looking for the? I was so confused as a viewer. Like, what are his motivations? Is he looking for the memory chip? Is he going to go to Mandalore? It's almost like a Vince Gilligan method of like,
chip.
I could do a lot of things in the next episode, and even though it seems like the characters have to do a couple things.
Yeah. I mean, based on the directors 6, 7, and 8, who are your heavy hitters, like, I think we're not going to get back to Mandalore or this specific part of the plot until 6, 7, and 8. I think we're going to have a lot of we do know he eventually gets back to Tatooine
Do we?
based on the because we see
What
what's
about
her
this?
name?
Oh yeah,
guys.
Pelimoda. Yeah.
What if the
Peli Moto.
what if the vial, like, what if the water that the armor is using is the living waters of Mandalore? But what if that's actually like acidic, and that's why it gets the metal to like bend and mold,
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
and it's like poison, and so the planet is poison.
Totally, that
like
makes sense.
this mystical substance
But
that
good poison.
the zealots are talking about, are saying is this living, purifying water. What if it's actually just poisoned?
Right.
What if it actually is poisoned? What if Bo-Katan's right? Like, that's fascinating.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
All right.
I like Adam's theory that he's gonna try to build a crew, but it would make more sense, I think, that he would go for the chip first and sort of assemble a crew along the way.
So I think we're gonna have 2 side quests before we get to the main quest in the last 3 episodes of the season, which is 1, the chip, 2, the pirates.
Yeah.
Like I think he's gonna get pulled and
Yeah.
the pirates are gonna be a full 1 or 2 episodes. I also saw that for the writers, Dave Filoni is writing episode 4 and 7. So it makes sense that he's writing episode 7 because episode 7 is probably Mandalorian lore heavy. Episode 4, I'm wondering, that's the one directed by Carl Weathers. I wonder if that's his tie-in. I wonder if they're going to tie it in with Ahsoka or something else a little bit, right? I'm trying to think what he would want to write
excited
about.
for that episode. I adore Carl Weathers, man, and he's such a good director. Like, I
He
can't wait.
crushed
Yeah.
in this episode.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I think we got to get to awards because
It's late. It's a long.
we're at that time.
We're
Oh, no, wait. I got one more. I got to kick in one more thing. Sorry. So the other writer is Noah Cooler, who is writing episode 3. He was a big part of the writer's room of the Book of Boba Fett. So my theory now is, just as we got a Mandalorian episode in the middle of our Book of Boba Fett, I think we're going to get a Book of Boba Fett episode in the middle of our Mandalorian
I'd be
show.
stoked about that, actually, because it's just like I want to see what's next for Boba Fett.
You want to go to Mandalore?
Yeah, because like, why does all right? So
Let's go.
All right, now I have to bring this.
Fennec and Boba, you could do anything.
Yeah.
Name it. You could get it done.
Yo, so did you notice the flags in the first scene of the episode?
Yeah. The
No.
Vizsla clan flag.
No, they had one was they might have had clan flags on the side, but the 2 that were being carried down the middle around beside the armor, one is the mythosaur skull, which we really got a lot of shots of, like a Beskar made mythosaur skull on the wall. Like, she takes that with her everywhere.
I noticed that.
And then the other one is I don't know the name of it. I've heard it, but I don't. It's the leaf, the branch with the leaves that's on the chest piece of Boba Fett's armor. That's the other
grapevine.
Yeah, it's got a name because everything has a name, right? Yeah. And I didn't look it up this whole hour and 20-minute podcast that we've had so far. I apologize for that. But it's the 2 symbols that are on Boba Fett's armor. So maybe we get a little backstory about that. Like, why does he have such this like heavy, like Mandalore centric iconography on Boba Fett's armor? Like, what's that about?
Yeah.
And what do those things mean?
I just realized. It's a really good question. I'm starting. My brain's also going to, like, what does that mean? Like, meaning, we also know, we saw in the preview, we saw that we're going to get a Grogu flashback.
Really? Oh yeah, there's a Grogu
so now
flashback.
We saw. Yep. I'm wondering, episode 4, written by Dave Filoni, is that going to be a flashbacky episode where we get? Because part of me, when I was seeing Grogu looking at the Purgles, I thought he might get a flashback. Like, it almost looked like it was gonna, like, it was directed in a way that I thought for a second he was just gonna, like, have a memory of something. It was gonna, like, spur something in his brain.
Also, I think we're also gonna get a Mandalore flashback because I mean, this is kind of spoilery if people aren't watching the things, but it looked like they showed like a very.
We just got
Mandalore.
super spoiler in the last 20 minutes. It's okay.
Yeah, whoopsie daisy.
I mean,
but like, we don't know if they're spoilers.
It's speculative spoilers. We could be completely wrong. We're basing this off of nothing other than names of directors and writers and what was shown in the preview
in the trailer. So, yeah,
pretty good chance Boba Fett's coming into this show.
Wow,
like,
you guys have blown my mind. I haven't thought about half of the stuff that we've talked about today. This is wild. This is the best Best day of my life.
They are building a connected universe.
Now I want to rewatch Book of Boba Fett because Ben swears
Galaxy.
by it, and I'm just like, I
Dude.
didn't give it a chance, really.
It's not. It doesn't take long. It's only like what 6 episodes or something. Maybe it's 8. Whatever. Just it goes by fast.
It's
Yeah,
eight
you
for the
just
short
bang
episodes.
through it. Give yourself an afternoon. Get yourself a pizza. Get a comfy chair. Settle in. Maybe
Set
a
the
brewski.
mood.
Maybe brewski
Yeah.
brewski. Whatevs. Whatever you got to do to feel right.
Some Jawa
Get
juice.
even.
Let's go.
And then and watch some Book of Boba Fett, dude. I gotta say, I did it in the afternoon and I loved it. It was so fun.
I'm having like built-in daycare this summer with like both
Nice.
grandparents being around, so I will cordon off a day in July.
If you want
to do
company,
that.
I'll show up. I'll bring popcorn. It'll be awesome.
Yeah, we can
Bring
make
my,
a day of it.
Mandalorian
All right,
helmet.
we got to get to episode roundup,
Let's do it.
Nice.
the awards of the night. Let's do the Utini shot. Let's do best shot, favorite shot of the episode. Ben,
do
you
you want me to
go
go 'cause
first.
I'm super basic and-
you
Alright.
look
No,
like
no,
you're
okay.
ready.
I guess best looking shot.
It's hard to pick one. There's a bunch. There's a good
There's a
dozen.
bunch,
here.
man. All right, I'm gonna pick one because I'm just like stealing everything from Reddit tonight. But there's a shot as like one of the Mandalorians in the first scene is blasting away from the crocodile turtle, and like straight
That's
up in the
literally
air.
my shot.
Really? Oh my gosh!
Literally my shot.
Sorry, I didn't.
It's a good one. I know the shot that you're talking about.
I'll pick a different shot. That's
It's a
fine.
good one.
I'll pick a different shot.
Yeah, that one was lit. Okay. I'll just say that as far as cinematography.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You can have that one and talk
no,
more
no,
intelligently
please,
because really
please keep it.
And Ben's gonna completely
I
steal
won't.
mine.
I'm
Go
not
ahead
going
for
to.
it.
No,
Go for it,
because if I'm
No, no,
being
I'm just
honest to
kidding.
myself
It'd be
and our
hilarious.
listeners and y'all,
Yeah.
it's the arrival shot at the castle. That's my favorite shot
That's a good one.
because
Yeah.
I
mean-
just geeked out in the whole castle and all that. Like it was so Game of Thrones,
do you
and I
mean,
don't
like,
care.
the establishing shot of the castle
Yes.
when he's out of his ship? That was sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, it looked awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
actually,
that's
even
such a
like
good one.
arriving, like flying into it, that pretty much that whole sequence. I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Those
really good.
flybys when they're just low altitude, the low altitude flyby is amazing.
Yep.
It always looks good. Well, I'll pick a different one. I'll pick the one where they're in hyperspace and it's just like a framing of like Mando in far left and like the tail of the ship in like almost far right. And it's like it just shows the entirety of the Naboo starfighter. All the angles are just flexed to the max.
just pure sex, just like
Yeah.
great.
I thought this was going to be like a domino effect of everyone stealing everyone else's one because I'm like, great, don't you do it because it's also from the same scene, but it is slightly different because my shot in that scene is when they show Grogu looking out the dome. You see the reflection of hyperspace in the dome to the point where there's a pinpoint in the middle of the dome that is what it would do in a curved surface. Like it's really neat. It's really cool to watch like the way it's the hyperspace is reflecting off the dome that
so
Grogu's looking out of. Yeah.
Rad. What do you got next? I thought you were going to say the
Favorite
Purgle shot,
line.
by the way.
Favorite line.
I love the Purgle line. The Purgle shot. Oh,
Did you have a favorite line in this episode?
I do. I need a second.
Not in my school.
Oh, yeah, nice, dude.
Going off.
that is
Grief
That's
going
pretty
off
great.
on the pirates. Oh my god. The delivery, like it's like 20 points.
Yeah, I think. All right,
I got mine.
What do you got, Adam?
I'm trying to think because like line for some reason the line stood out, but bad.
Oh,
baby.
yeah, that's dude. Yes.
Bad baby.
Bad baby. Dude, that's the right answer. I was gonna say, I was gonna
sorry.
say never trust a pirate, but
good one, too.
but like Itboken is like kind of great. Yeah, actually, there's like just dude that whole scene, and it's like you realize halfway through
That's a
it
great
that
scene.
like obviously that's the bit, but like Mandalorian's like, oh okay, I get it, they are speaking basic. But he keeps doing the translation.
Keeps
But then they do
explaining
like
it.
the shot where
No,
they just
it's-
show the Mandalorian being like stop already, but he's wearing a helmet, but you still get it.
Yeah. It is. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I think John Favreau he got to start writing comedy, right? Like he writes within comedy. I mean, comedy dramas, but like you forget that sometimes, right? Because he's so in this, but he can write a comedic scene that is really well structured. That scene was really, really well structured comedically, and the scene where you cut away and you show him sitting cross-legged in the tiny little hut it's just a great moment of just visual
Yes.
comedy that they wait a while before showing it. I mean, they do the thing with him, Grief Karga translating, like you mentioned, and it's that old comedy routine of you do it enough times that it stops being funny and then it comes
again.
back around
Yeah,
to being funny
yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so well structured. Yeah.
I kind of love the armorer's delivery of like when she sees the shard and she's like, "It proves it's true. Like the entire surface of Mandalore was crystallized by fusion rays." I was
Yeah.
like, "That's
Whoa.
a
Yeah.
Fusion
like
rays.
old Mon
Fusion
Mothma
rays,
level,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, hippie
Yeah.
days like sound. Like I don't know, sort of.
Yeah. Emily Swallow
It just sounds
slays
like
in that
super
role.
sort of like Tolkien-esque,
Yeah.
sort of like high fantasy. It just sounded so cool.
Yeah. That was lit. What else you got?
Yeah, there's a lot of Tolkien in like the line, just the dialogue work.
Yeah, and Game of
Especially-
Thrones. It's like I think that's a good vector for Mandalorian. Like to go. I mean, I know he's sort of the classic gunslinger, but like I think if anything could swerve a little more high fantasy, I think Mandalore.
Yeah, it's like a fantasy
Man-
gunslinger.
Yeah,
Like if you guys love the Dark Tower, I feel like it's kind of like a brighter version of that.
yeah,
Like a far brighter
Yeah.
version. of
right.
that,
Yeah,
where
because that's
it's
the
like,
gunslinger's dark.
It's a high fantasy gunslinger epic.
I do get more
Yeah.
like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
vibes off
especially with
those.
Bo-Katan's castle.
100%. Yeah. It definitely feels like they're going that high fantasy route. Yeah.
Okay, chosen one. Was there one character that stood out to you guys in this episode? If you could choose one.
Bro,
I'm going to go Grief Karga.
grief. All right,
Good one.
I'm gonna go the droids that carry Grief Karga's cape.
Oh, the droids. I forgot about
Not
that.
mentioned
Oh,
those
that's so well done.
Oh,
well done. I forgot about
I'm going
that. That was
Grogu
great.
because I can't believe he's still on the board, and
Yeah,
just the antics, the force pushing Grief's chair, swiveling
yeah,
around,
swiveling around with it, and then like stealing
hugging
M&Ms.
Ian Zealous.
That's
Yeah.
the
Uh,
that's the really interesting thing about this episode is like I don't know how to say this. I'm just gonna say it. Grogu is kind of inconsequential in this episode, right? Which is not something we've really experienced all that much sometimes with this. Like he was just there, which I mean, which is
Yeah.
fine. Like
he's like
his
terrible
story is
twos,
somewhat
though,
on
like,
pause.
permanently. He's like biting
Yeah.
on stuff and
Yeah.
like trying to eat people and hug people and kill things. It's like he's terrifying.
Is there going to be a moment in this season? I know, like trying to like dismount here, but is there going to be a moment this season where Mando has to choose between his quest and Grogu?
Yeah.
Or like how much violence
Maybe.
and like poisoned planets do we have to bring Grogu? Like
Yeah.
how much does he have to see?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, maybe you should have left him with Luke.
Yeah, I mean,
Why does he have
they're
to
just
do
boys
this?
though. They're a clan of two, and it's just like
That's
this is
true.
the way.
I need to be a Ben viewer.
Yeah.
I need to just be like
No
I'm-
matter how many
I'm
times
riding with
he
this clan of
shuts
two.
down people.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't wait till he gets his helmet. I think that Ragnar getting his little helmet was like foreshadowing to be like, you can make smaller helmets if you want to.
Did either of you think she was making a Grogu helmet?
No, I wanted it to be. I was like, it's it was pretty clear who it was for.
Too
but
soon.
I was like, maybe in the future. But I would just like him to be like, what do you think, Grogu, about anything? You know, like actually, because he's he's young and he's juvenile, but he still could be wise, or he still has a POV or something that could be valuable. Just so he's like a character that participates instead of just like I don't know, just like luggage.
I mean, he's connected to the
Yes.
Force, which is something different than Din Djarin, right?
Yeah.
So there's some type of he has a different
like
perspective.
he needs to
on
provide
things. Yeah.
insight on some of these crucial things. Like, yes, Din Djarin's teaching him the ways of Mandalore, but like, there's got to be something that Grogu can teach Din Djarin. Know what I mean?
All right, Ben Burt's best
Yeah.
blaster bolt.
Yeah.
What's the best sound design moment?
Ben Burt's
of
best
this?
blaster bolt. You just come up with that? That's great.
What's the best sound design moment of this episode? Is there one sound stood out to you guys?
Oh, there's.
I mean, Naboo Starfighter engine is like
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
hyperdrive
so
engine.
I was gonna say like just the hyperdrive, but also the noise effect of the N1 coming in at the very beginning of the episode was pretty wonderful.
There was a scene I think it was when he was leaving wherever that like Mandalorian enclave was, where the covert, where he just turns over the engine and it's just like glug 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 glug, like it just sounds like a Dodge Challenger. And I was like, nice.
It's a muscle car.
Yeah, totally. That got me going.
Yeah. Oh, here's my question. So he has to get IG-11 to bring with him.
Talking about the plan.
Is he just gonna strap? Is he just? Yeah. But now here's a really minutia part of the plan because I actually paused it to have this conversation with Carly. Is he just gonna strap the droid to the bottom of that thing?
We needed to have this conversation. Yeah. So you say you're successful. Where does the droid go?
Where's the droid go?
In theory, he could go in the bubble, and what's his name?
That was
sit in his lap.
Is there no cargo space at all underneath the ship?
There's none.
I don't think so.
Okay, so then Bo-Katan agrees to join him. Where does she go? You gonna put her in the bubble?
I mean, she has
a Mandalorian starfighter. Yeah. I've seen her ship.
So I think. Oh, see, you're right. That's what's going to happen. Is he's going to have his crew. So that's right. So he's going to have a crew with another starfighter.
He's going to have his crew.
No. Here's the thing. I want to, and now I need to see a shot of IG-11 just riding on the outside.
Really? Because there was a meme that I saw, and they were like, "This is the plan to carry IG-11," and it was just like a bunch of rope around the tail of it, like taping one leg.
Yes.
And like it's just like one leg of and like he's just lying there.
But here's the thing. There's no such thing as drag in space. So I just want him sitting upright riding it.
Oh my God, just riding it.
Just riding it.
That's too much.
Doesn't matter.
He'll be
He's
fine.
not going to get blown off. Like there's no drag in space.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
All right, best space name. What do we got for best space name?
I mean, don't make me consult the internet here, but Gorian Shard is pretty good.
Yeah, Gorian Shard is pretty good.
Gorian Shard's pretty good. Also, Vane is pretty good too for his. I mean, Ragnar.
Ragnar
is like name, yeah. Ragnar feels like if someone said make up a fake Star Wars name.
Wasn't Ragnar a character in like Jedi Academy? Wasn't there a Ragnar like somewhere?
Is there a Ragnar
no.
Or something?
Who is it? Because by the way, did I mention on air that I finished my quest? I have read every single thing in
the expanded universe.
Old EU. I did it. I read every. I almost swear, but I knew where I think every freaking thing. It feels wonderful to complete a 15-year quest. And I will say it was very pleasurable to read like old EU, the kind of the stuff at the end. I really, really enjoyed some of it. Did I wish I didn't have to end it with Legacy of the Force comics? Is that was the last thing I read? Yeah, okay. But it was fine. Some endings are not, what you would want, but it's okay.
Right. Good.
Do I think Cade Skywalker might be the worst character in all of Star Wars history? Possibly. Cool. Possibly.
Cade who?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry to derail us there, but I'm like, I don't
take
think
a lap, Adam. That's an achievement.
Thank you.
Scheduled for termination, or do we get a foreboding feeling anyone's going to die in this episode?
Oh, from this episode? Yeah, Gorian Shard.
Yeah, I mean, any of the
guy's gonna die.
Vane
Shard.
Yeah, Vane's definitely gonna die.
He's definitely gonna die.
Because the Mandalorian was like, we should have killed that guy. Like Grief is like, no, he'll tell others to stay away, and like Mandalorian's like, no, he's not. He's gonna come back in force.
Vane's gonna go.
He knows it's just you, dude. Like, yeah.
We talked about the fact that he didn't do it, but like Cara Dune off screen, it'll be like the MASH thing. His tail.
Adam's dying for this.
Her spaceships spun in tail first into the sea.
Oh my God, that'd be so funny. It's like, oh great, the Spec Force is here, and then you just see a plane like go down in a ball of flames, and they're like, oh no, Cara Dune, but you never see her.
Oh, Cara Dune.
It's just reported on Core
News. Cara Dune down. Well, anyways.
Okay.
That'd be funny.
Memeable moment? Is there a memeable moment? All the ends.
Yeah.
Every single frame.
It broke in. Yeah.
It broke in. Yeah. I mean, I just being the father of a toddler, I just want bad baby.
Bad baby.
But it just snuggled it.
So angry.
Like, I just want to snuggle it. And he just snuggles it in.
Snuggle it. Yeah.
It's great.
It's pretty great.
What else you got, Grant?
Backdoor pilot? Anyone getting a backdoor pilot from this episode? I don't think so.
I don't think so. That's the thing. I was talking to Carly and I were when I first finished that episode, we were both a little.
I mean, you could.
I mean,
Katie Sackhoff
depressing.
needs to really to get some more screen time and really.
I
flesh out
agree.
that
I think she's great. Again, we're literally in the refusal of the call for her arc. So
we're waiting for her to make a move on the chessboard because Bo-Katan's a major character.
Yeah.
No, I will say, as much as I was sometimes a little down on this episode, talking to you guys, I'm really appreciating it more. But I will say, like, one thing I really appreciated when it was done is, like, I feel like season 2, every episode of season 2 felt like a backdoor pilot to another series in a lot of ways. Even though it was like really great and there's a lot of fun stuff.
They did launch
this felt like
7 shows off after that.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're.
This felt like, no, this is just the Mandalorian. This is just the Mandalorian and Grogu's story.
I mean,
right?
the
Get back
whole
to, like,
episode
really
had a pilot feel to it. It was just like, we're setting up all this stuff.
Yeah,
and, like,
in many ways.
Yeah, we're just learning about what the next stage of the Mandalorian is now that he's fulfilled his quest.
Oh, how about a Goran Shard spin-off show? How about a pirate spin-off show?
That'd be good times. They did a nice job with the the
House of Vane.
House of Vane. I was thinking about that.
No, or an Our Flag Means Death style version of Space Pirates. Would we not all watch that?
I'd watch it. Yeah, a pirate's life for me. Vane's
They should do
Vanity
like
Project.
the Starliner, the Galactic Star Cruiser, like show, like Below Deck, but it's Star Wars. It's like
I'd watch it.
Stand
I love
the
it.
guy who folds the bed. Like I can't stand.
I know, and like cast Bill Hader.
He never cleans up the jet ski. He always leaves it out. He never puts it back.
Definitely, yeah. Like cast like Bill Hader and like Will Ferrell, and then someone else in like that. And
The space pods are always unlatched,
Yeah.
and they're not in a safe and upright position, and I don't know what's going on.
I'd watch it. I'd watch the heck out of that.
Totally. Oh man,
Lots of
that's amazing.
testimonials.
John Goodman as
Matt, the radar technician, somehow aboard.
oh my gosh,
Oh gosh,
the ghost radar
guys!
technician.
I mean, if we're still live, right? Like,
Yeah, we're still.
I just want to get something off my chest.
All right.
I feel like the cloning contingency plan for Palpatine was like horribly portrayed in the sequels and like in a lot of like the new storytelling.
No.
I was like,
Don't
isn't that like the bread and butter of kind of what you need to like harness and then unleash in your story that it takes place after the original trilogy?
Yeah. Don't say the sequels. It was only dealt with in the very last movie in a 9-movie.
Yeah, I can't fault the Rise of Skywalker for trying to do all of it in one movie, and I'm like, well, you can't. No, you can't. Not all.
But do you think it would have been better if it was maybe
it's crazy
seeded out through the last 3? But I feel like they're trying to do that a little bit with the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, that's what this is going to be about. You know,
is Mando going to get into
Clone
it and be
Wars
like,
really
here's all that retcon cloning stuff and the contingency plan?
We do know
I'm
the
like,
cloning
I
scientist
wanted this
comes
in
back.
a really
yeah.
smart way. Like,
and
kind of-
Coruscant, right?
Yeah, so there's another. You're right.
We're
We
gonna
do
see the
Coruscant
cloning
and the cloners. So we
scientist,
do
yeah.
see. Yeah, so there is another thread through
But
the
that's what I'm
season that we
saying.
haven't
Like
really.
Mando is coming in to
pegged
do
in on yet.
cleanup on something that should have probably had like a kind of like, I don't know, like a Lord of the Rings-esque sort of flashback construction and how it was done. You know what I mean? A sort of like, this is what happened then, and like this was the plan, and like,
Yeah.
I don't know, dark time.
But imagine if we just fill that in. We have a lot of shows we could make that fills that in. That suddenly makes
I
it
know
feel
it's like
like
100
deep
shows are gonna
storytelling, which
actually,
is
like,
wild.
address this, and I'm like,
Also,
but I don't
have
want,
we
but,
all
like, I
heard the
almost don't want to go
rumor?
back and address it. Like if you were to address it, it would have been the sequel trilogy, and then you put that to bed, basically.
Yeah.
You know, like,
But
why
here's the
do
thing.
we? We're not gonna. I don't want to rehash Palpatine ever again. I'm like, I'm good. I got everything.
Well, I'm sorry, Grant. You're going to get on with Palpatine in the world, but this is the legacy of Star Wars. Is you do something kind of quickly and somewhat slapshottily done in a movie, and then you write 17
Explaining
books
it, yeah.
and do 2 comic books and 2 like animated series that explains it all. Like Cypher Diaz. Cypher Diaz was just a misspelling of Sidious in the original screenplay that like George Lucas was just like, oh, this is great. We'll just leave it here. and then we get an entire arc in Clone Wars and books
It's
and
always-
everything filling it
yeah.
out.
I mean,
right?
yeah,
Like,
the
so,
script
Clone Wars,
supervisor
like,
was
seven
now it
"I have
feels like a
Siphon
Master
Diaz
Chief
here,
stuff
Siphon
storytelling.
Diaz." He's like, "I like that.
Yeah.
Let's keep it."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay.
yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I totally get it, and I feel like
But
Palpatine's
do
a
I think
fascinating
they could have done a
character.
better job with how
Yeah.
it's done?
He's like
yeah.
the meme of all memes. You know what I mean? He is like the most indelible, iconic villain of all time. Like one of them at least. And
Yeah.
Ian McDermott's performances are incredible.
Legendary.
Yeah.
And the quotes are incredible. And it's just like I could live with that
It's-
character forever as being like the big bad
Yeah.
because it's just a great character. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to do him.
I don't know, we got
justice and
Jit-
be like, well, you can't just kill the Emperor like that, and like, I don't know. I can do the mental gymnastics around it, but I agree. I mean, you know, it all came at you.
it's just like
pretty
that
fast.
whole thing I thought was like the weighty substance that you had to eventually work with and mold. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it needed a little more runway.
Yeah.
Before it.
That said, I
before it
can't wait to
landed
get
in
all the
episode
cloning
9.
dark magic stuff. in
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Now, so there's, now
Like,
we have,
we'll-
yeah,
we're
we
gonna
can
get
enjoy
there.
the
We're gonna get it.
backfill on it. It'll be great. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I love that cloner. Yeah, I want to hear more about the dirt. I want to see Coruscant again. I want to, I want to see what's up.
Oh, I can't wait for Coruscant.
Yeah.
Whatever that episode is.
The goal is that by the time my daughter watches all this stuff, she'll just be like, "Oh, they just totally had this
Yeah, it
whole
made
plan that it
perfect
was
sense.
Palpatine the entire way." Yeah,
They're
yeah.
only now realizing that Palpatine's back.
yeah. Weren't they watching The Mandalorian and
Yeah,
the other 17
right.
shows
What
that's
was-
put out of it?
Somehow.
Oh, what is the lost guy's
Pod.
name? Bert Hume. What's that guy's name? Benedict
Oh man.
Berkshire.
No. No.
Beaumont
see, it's
Kin.
gone now because you keep
Beaumont-
saying B names.
Yeah.
Beaumont Kin.
He's
Well
like, nice,
done.
Beaumont
You got it.
Kin.
Dominic Moynihan.
Yeah, Dominic
Yeah.
Moynihan. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it's gonna be. Anyways, that was a bit of a left-hand turn.
Dark magic.
Do you think?
Is that our only Lord of the Ring actor that ends up in Star Wars? Is that right? Oh no, no, I'm forgetting a big
Aragorn?
one.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm forgetting the big
Gandalf?
one, which is Saruman.
Oh yeah, Saruman, Christopher Lee.
Christopher
yeah.
Lee. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of the big
This
one.
was massive.
Yeah,
I
Kind of the bad guy in both
I
the
think the
series.
prequels
Someone's
are so
punching their
good.
windshield
I think
right now.
I think that trilogy is like elevated because of Christopher Lee. Honestly, Christopher Lee is insane.
He's insane.
in that trilogy.
Yeah.
so,
He's so
good.
good.
So can I tell
Yeah.
you a quick aside? I went to a Star Wars trivia brunch in Salem,
Sweet.
Massachusetts.
I love everything about what you just said.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and
Seriously,
so it was
very
just myself and my wife and my friend JT, and they don't know as much about Star Wars, and I got hammered and and destroyed everyone else in that brunch, but I got one question wrong, and I got
Oh, no,
I
it's
got
fine.
too
You're
drunk to
perfectly
remember
fine.
Christopher Lee's name. I was like, wait.
Oh, no.
I'm like, he was like Dracula.
Wait, whose name?
Like I couldn't. They're like Count.
And
They're like
Saruman, you're,
yeah.
like,
They're
naming
like,
all his
oh, the
characters.
award-winning character
should've-
played
you
Count
should've
Dooku,
called
and I was like, and I couldn't remember Christopher Lee. That's the only question I got wrong out of like 24 questions.
I mean, we've also all listened to Christopher Lee's heavy metal albums.
Seriously,
I
what?
Okay.
I have not spent the time listening.
Christopher Lee released several heavy metal albums, including Christmas
gotta
heavy
go.
metal albums.
I gotta go
It
listen
is.
to
It's like
You gotta go. Like I feel like we should
Heavy
start off
metal
now. That's
Christmas
everyone's
albums?
homework. Yeah.
Am I still
And it's-
conscious?
and
Did
it's
I
his
fall
voice.
asleep? What is happening right now?
No. It's. Oh, I'm so. It makes me so happy that you're going to discover this thing because it's just his voice. Like he's mostly like it's very William Shatnery spoken word, but it's like Christopher Lee's.
Oh, so it's like
voice,
spoken
like-
word
oh, yeah.
over metal.
I've heard him read I've heard him
But-
read.
yeah.
Fellowship of the Ring, and I've heard him read like 2 hours.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I can't wait. Let's go. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I got to get out of here, guys. Can we wrap this up?
That's too much.
Like I think he used to release like one a year for every year for like a lot
Guys,
of his life.
what's,
That's
like,
the most
what are we watching
astonishing
right
thing
now?
I've
What are you
heard
guys-
today.
What are you guys watching right now? Just our.
Yeah, he literally has one called A Heavy Metal Christmas by Christopher Lee. With the little drummer boy, that's the one. That's the
Oh my
best.
gosh. Because I
And he
kind of
has
love
Silent
that
Night.
stuff. I love like Japanese metal where it's just like random
Yeah.
spoken word. Oh God, I love it.
Is it spoken word, Adam, or is it does he sing?
Or does he scream? Is he like,
No,
I think it's spoken word.
no,
I
he
think
definitely
he's
doesn't.
like, and
he
then
definitely
the
doesn't do like.
bells
and the bell?
ringing.
It's No, it's like it's in between. He's definitely singing, but imagine if you were trying to do an impression of Christopher Lee singing, and that's what you would get, where it's recognizably Christopher Lee. Does that make sense? So it's very like it's singing, but it's kind of like when Shatner would sing.
I'm imagining something
in
like
his
Michael
spoken word
Bublé.
stuff.
Like I don't know, like what that would sound like, loungy. I can't
mean,
imagine.
No, not that nice. not that, but in terms of like center of his, it's just you gotta experience it.
Okay.
I mean, he released. Oh, I forgot. He released it in 2012. He released an album when he was 90 years old. A heavy metal album when he was 90 years old. No one is more metal than Christopher Lee. He's a 90-year-old man who released a heavy
Is that
metal
the name
album.
of this album?
Like,
this
let's just
episode is No One's More Metal Than Christopher.
No one is more metal than Christopher Lee.
All right,
It
we
is.
got it.
No one's more
100%
Beskar
is.
than
Yeah.
Christopher Lee. Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah. Well, I guess you really got to get through an hour of 40 minutes of this podcast to finally get to the Christopher Lee metal album reveal.
You're welcome to the best gift ever.
It's a true
Best
Easter
part of
egg.
the pod. Last 2 minutes.
Count Dooku's metal album. Oh my god. They should do something like that in Clone Wars where he's just like secretly a metal artist or like a singer. Oh my gosh. All right. That's fantastic.
Beautiful ending.
Yeah. Can't really top any of that. Except for next week. So next week we're going to cover the second episode of Mandalorian and we're going to cover episode 10 and 11 or 11 and 12 of Bad Batch. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst host
Yeah,
ever.
11 and 12, I believe.
Yeah. 11, we'll say, I think it's 11
I forgot
and 12.
Bad Batch was the thing.
Anyways,
think
2
so.
episodes
That
of
sounds
Bad
right.
Batch
Yeah.
to catch us up. So that one will probably be 4 hours long. So, hope you join us.
Get ready.
Get ready. And again, we're going to try and release live times. We still don't know. We're doing our best here, everybody. Life's hard.
What would you bring to the minds of Mandalore?
Gas mask,
That's
I
our
think.
listener question of the week.
Yeah.
What would you bring?
Yeah.
I mean,
Who would you bring?
do you think it would
Picnic blanket?
would it deteriorate your Beskar armor or would it make it stronger? I don't know. I think I'd bring my Mando helmet. I want to give it a little dip, a little dipperoo. Just see if it
Write in. Tell us
right
more.
in. Yeah.
At Core One News on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes. Definitely. All right. Thank you everyone for listening to us. I hope you enjoyed Mandalorian or loving Star Wars like we are. Now we'll be back next week. Take care and may the Force be with you. Leading to the outro.
Darth Maul.
Follow at Core World News on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you and good night.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Did we do the thing? That's insensitive.
This sign means stop talking.
Yeah, stop talking.
Who are you, Matt Gates?